Hey everyone, Anthony here from Northwest. I've been a corporate guide here for about 2 years, and today I had the pleasure of talking to a good friend, Taylor, who's been here for about 3 years. And we just wanted to talk to you about FBAs and kind of some of the struggles that people are having out there, and maybe some of the questions, and hopefully put you at ease with the concerns that you may have. We visit sole props, we visit LLCs, we talk about which state is best for you. So thanks for tuning in, and here we go. Hey, it's Anthony here. I got Taylor. Taylor, say hi to the people.
Hey people, it's Taylor.
All right, so Taylor, I want to talk to the audience about FBAs.
For Fulfillment by Amazon.
Okay, yeah, Fulfillment by Amazon. So, I mean, we've had an influx of people calling in, trying to sell things on Amazon. What has been your experience so far with that?
So it's definitely been a rising idea for a lot of people. We've had a lot of clients going that route. It's becoming more popular for our clients that we see doing the Fulfillment by Amazon, creating a seller's account, generally forming an LLC so that they can do that with a little bit more liability protection and privacy between them and their seller's account. But it's pretty popular. They like it because you can store your products at an Amazon store where they pick, pack, and ship your items. And then you can just worry about the marketing aspect of your company instead of having to deal with all of the logistics. So it's pretty popular on the rise. And you have the whole Amazon audience, which is a huge plus for a lot of people that don't know how to really raise their clientele. It's kind of just an added plus for them.
Right. It's like a way to sell your products without having to worry about the hassle of the logistics.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And like you said, the branding with Amazon, I mean, how many times do you go on to get something on Amazon, right? Yeah. It's like, hey, I need this, go on Amazon real quick. Boom, boom, boom. So there's a lot of benefits. But you'd mentioned that a lot of people that have LLCs do this. Can someone just go on Amazon that doesn't have an LLC and start selling their products?
So they can. That would be under the title of being a sole proprietorship. So we recommend that you might want to consider forming an LLC so that you have the added benefit of the limited liability protection. So that means that the owners, known as members, are generally separate and not personally liable for anything that happens with the business, financially, legally, anything within that realm, so that they have more protection. So that process starts with registering your LLC with the Secretary of State, obtaining a registered agent service, which we do, and then you can also apply for an EIN. So this can sound like a daunting process, but Northwest can actually help with all of that. It's pretty easy to get started, but that way you just have a little bit more protection and privacy between you and your business.
Right. So if you're sole proprietorship, your business name is literally your name, sole proprietorship, right? There's not a whole big layer of privacy there, which I know a lot of people, they don't want their information out there. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's we live in a time to where like people really value that privacy. One of the ways you can ensure that privacy is maintained is by becoming an LLC, right? And we can help you with every step of the way. One of the big points with all this is your business may take off, right? You may be getting with FBA with Amazon, and you may be pushing product left and right. The last thing you're going to want to worry about are the little intricate details of not having asset protection, right? So I think it's a huge selling piece with that.
Yeah, like your time is money, and if you're wasting your time with all the logistics when you don't have to, then you're wasting your money. So why worry about it?
It's almost like do a little more work up front, right? Make sure everything's ready to go, and then everything runs smoothly from there.
Yep, and then you're all good to go.
Right. I want to talk about the EIN real quick. What's the benefit with the EIN? Why would I want that?
Yeah, so again, that just kind of separates you from your business. So most banks, when you go to open a bank account under your business, will ask you for an EIN. Again, that really reinforces the liability protection that you get when forming an LLC. So if your LLC was ever in a lawsuit or any kind of other financial risk or anything, you can prove to the courts or the bank or anyone else that asks that you and your business are truly separate by having the EIN and a business bank account under that instead of your own social or ITIN.
So it's like a business social, essentially.
Essentially.
Right. Okay, cool. Which is huge because I don't know if you've ever had any situation where you've been a victim of identity theft. That's a nightmare to go down. All right. So having that extra layer of protection is huge.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, so what are like the struggles that people are seeing? Maybe like, I feel like my wife is constantly sending packages back to Amazon. So if you're like paying Amazon to like house your stuff, pack your stuff, ship your stuff, all that kind of stuff. Are they just shipping it back to the warehouse? Are they shipping it back to your personal address? What's going on with that?
Yeah, so they do ask for a residential address when you set up your Amazon seller account with them. They actually have a few requirements, so that might be a good idea to check those out so that you can meet those before actually enrolling in that program. What we offer is a virtual office, just like most other virtual office services, so you can use our address for that added privacy. But we've seen a lot of clients run into some struggle with Amazon because they do require that that address is able to receive those packages of product, which our virtual office and most virtual office services do not. Along with that, they also usually ask for some type of utility bill, lease agreement, anything like that. So it's best to use a residential address that offers all of those with Amazon.
Okay, that makes sense. So virtual office would be more used if I needed to access any mail at any given time. I could log onto my account, that those documents would be uploaded instantly. I'd be able to see them. But the physical package, though, is not the route to go as far as virtual office. That makes a lot of sense.
So with our services, we actually allow the use of our registered agent address in any state that you enroll in. Have you seen a more popular state that clients gravitate towards for an Amazon seller account?
No, that's a really good question. I think most people figure that they got to register in the state that they're doing business in, where they live. But with Amazon being a virtual environment, I mean, you have the freedom to choose from any of the 50 states, to include the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico as well. But back to your question, Wyoming would probably be one of the ones I've seen most frequently. And that's because of the asset protection that you get when signing up in Wyoming. Also, Wyoming doesn't have any sales tax, so you're saving a lot of money that way. Another thing is no income tax. They also have low state fees, and the filing can come back pretty quickly as well. So that's an area that people like to see, is knowing that it's efficient and they're going to get their things back quickly. So, yeah. What about you? Have you experienced any other states outside of Wyoming that you've seen, pop up on the radar?
Yeah, it's really up to the client to decide which state is best for them. We have a lot of online resources at our website that they can kind of skim through and read through to pick what would work best for them. I've also seen Wyoming as a really popular avenue for those clients, as well as other states such as Delaware, if they're okay with a little bit of a higher tax. There's quite a few options that we have, so I think it's really a good idea to do your research to see what works best for you. But I'm really glad that you mentioned that it's an online environment. It doesn't have to be a brick and mortar building, since you're doing everything through the web essentially. I think it's worth the effort to think strategically about the business setup, and especially where you want to start the business with a third-party account like Amazon for those purposes. So I think it's best to kind of go over all of your resources and choose what works best for you. We have lots of resources at your disposal through our website, and even if you create a free online account, we have a forms library in there where you have access to all the state forms for free, or we can always help you out if you'd rather hire a registered agent to take care of everything for you. Totally up to you, but we have resources either way.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things to where you can try it once. Maybe you're like a do-it-yourself person and you're completely good with that. Me, I'm not a do-it-yourself person, and I'd rather someone that's done the same thing X amount of times take care of it than me taking a shot at it, screwing it up royally, and you know what I mean, wishing I would have hired someone. So, but like you said, if you're a do-it-yourself person, we literally go as far as to give you all the resources on the website. So check out the Northwest website. I mean, at the very least, you're going to get a lot of good resources, and maybe you're going to decide, hey, this is too much. I would like the people at Northwest to do it for me, or I'm just going to do it myself, right? So we give you those options.
Yeah, that's true. And we always have our support team open for questions, even if you don't have an online account.
Awesome. Well, Taylor, I really appreciate you being here today and kind of talking about it, hopefully giving people some peace of mind and educating them in certain areas. But I'd like to wrap it up with some takeaways. So my biggest takeaway, or one of my biggest takeaways, I should say, is knowing if you should be a sole prop or an LLC, right? Knowing if you need more protection, more privacy, just doing the research into that. What would you add to that?
Yeah, I think that's a great point that you make. And going back on the research, I also think that would be a really good next step for anyone interested in becoming a seller on Amazon, would be doing the research to see what their requirements are to start that seller's account. That way you kind of know what to go do from there, and you know what to expect and how to get started.
Right. I'm going to stay on the doing research category and kind of hit it home with figuring out what state you should do business in. There's so many different rules and regulations, requirements. Each state is vastly different, and I think it's knowing your business and knowing what's going to work well for you. So I think doing the research there would help. Well, thank you everybody for listening, and we'll see you soon.